Hi there, it's Mrs. Martin, and I'm here to obviously talk to you about some great books. We are talking today about a variety of different books, and let's just jump right in. A reminder that on our book talks, with each slide, we have our title and author listed at the top for you so that it's easy for you to remember and possibly write them down if it's a list that you're keeping track of. We also have the book cover so that you can find it on the shelf. And then in the top right corner, we have the genre so that when you're going to the library, you can locate it by that same sign and find it as well when it comes to looking on the spine of the book. You can find the sticker that matches that. So for example, on this slide, the first book that we're sharing today is a fantasy book. You could look for that same fantasy sign that has the unicorn and look for the books that have that same sticker on the side. And as you know, all of the books that are in the fantasy section have that sticker on the spine of the book. Let's get started. Today, our first book is 8th Grade Bites by Heather Brewer. For our main character, Vlad, junior high or middle school really sucks. Bullies are giving him a hard time, and the principal is after him. It seems like the principal seems to have some big problem with him, even more so than other kids. The girl that Vlad likes even seems to prefer his best friend. My gosh, what a bummer. And Vlad has a secret that he keeps from everybody. His mother was a human, but his father was a vampire. And nobody else knows about this. He worries that he had something to do with his parents' deaths. So his parents are no longer alive, and he does worry that he had something to do with them passing away. Vlad doesn't know exactly how to handle his own powers. He struggles all the time with his blood cravings. He's got fangs in his mouth that continue to grow as he gets older. And this substitute teacher at school is now starting to get suspicious. The sub is questioning him a little too closely, and Vlad worries that his cover is about to be blown. But then he is facing an even bigger problem. There is a vampire hunter, vampire killer actually, who is hunting Vlad and others down, and Vlad worries that he's going to be found out. Take a look at 8th Grade Bites. It's the first book in the Chronicles of Vladimir Tod, the series by Heather Brewer. You can find it in fantasy under our B authors for Brewer. The second book I'm sharing is The Phantom Twin by Lisa Brown. This is in our graphic novel section. This story is about the extraordinary Peabody sisters. They are conjoined twins, two girls, all kind of one person if you look at them. Their bodies are connected to one another. And they are part of this traveling carnival show put out on display really for people to look at, gawk at, point at, laugh at. This was something that back in carnivals years and years ago, historically, this was a thing. And these girls are tired of being seen as freaks. So when a surgeon offers to give them this surgery that's kind of experimental, it hasn't really been done, but says he can separate their bodies and have them be two separate people for the first time ever, they take him up on it. They want to do it. He does so. He fails at keeping them both separate and living, and it causes the death of one twin. You've got to read the book to find out how this impacts the living girl. Isabel remains while her sister Jane has died, but Jane isn't really gone entirely. Take a look at The Phantom Twin. I was absolutely enthralled with this book. I loved learning some of the history behind being a conjoined twin and part of a carnival. I also really enjoyed the story of these two girls and how the one twin who is no longer alive still remains part of the story as a character. take a look to see as well how Isabel, alone for the first time, but also haunted, is trying to build this life on her own. Look in graphic novels, again, look in the B's in this section as well for Brown. Apparently I was all about the B authors today because we've got Holly Black with her series, The Magisterium, the first book being The Iron Trial. If you are someone who comes to the library saying that Harry Potter was one of your favorite series, this is one you'll want to take a look at. It's in fantasy. Cal grows up with his father, and each year at a certain age, students are completing this test to admit them into a school where they can learn more about their favorite skill or passion. They can really kind of pursue that talent. But the school, turns out, is not exactly your traditional school. It's the school of magic. And the test that you're taking to get into the school is to find out if you are one of these gifted magicians. Cal's father has taught him, you need to fail this test. Let's take a look at the trailer for this book to learn a little more. Love that trailer. Well, Cal does exactly what his dad says. He fails miserably at the tests, but unfortunately it's not enough because no matter how hard he's failing, they still want him to attend the school. Find out what happens next in this really exciting series. The first book, The Iron Trial by Holly Black. Definitely not as lengthy as the Harry Potter series. It is a shorter book series in general, and the books are shorter too, but full of magic, full of great characters. Check that one out. For something more realistic, you could take a look at Dress Coded by Carrie Firestone in realistic fiction. If you have ever thought to yourself, you know, something is not right about, the world. I need to stand up for what I believe in. I need to push back against the rules. There's something that I need to use my voice to say something more about. This would be a fantastic book for you to read. Molly, our 8th grade main character, is absolutely fed up because she has in her school what she feels is a very unfair dress code. And kids, in particular girls, are feeling very much as though this dress code is targeting them. There are multiple girls, Olivia, Liza, Jessica, feeling like they're being called out for different things. Tank top straps, people wearing the same outfits and feeling like, one person's being called out and the other one is not. They feel like, okay, it's impossible to find shorts that are longer than their fingertips when that's what they're supposed to wear, even though when they go to the stores, they can't find anything like that. And then they're getting in trouble and they're being sent home or their parents are having to come into the school. It's becoming this huge deal. So, middle school is hard enough, and Molly feels as though it's time for somebody to stand up. Molly starts a podcast where girls can tell their stories. And soon, her small voice starts this huge rebellion because girls are standing up for what's right and they are not backing down. Now, don't get mistaken about this. This is not a book simply for girls because it is about female characters. This is a book for anyone who wants to stand up for something and has felt that making good trouble is important. Pick this one up, Dress Coded by Carrie Firestone. Those students who've read this book and brought it back absolutely loved it. and I hope that you will too. Looking realistic under F. One last book that I have to mention is incredibly short. So if you are looking for a quick read, this would be the ticket. Storm Runners by Roland Smith came to mind when we've been having some less than ideal weather conditions lately. In our adventure section, Chase and his dad are storm runners. They actually do chase after bad weather. They look for, where's the bad weather going to be, and let's follow it. Let's study it. Let's get right out there in it. If you're someone who, when bad weather strikes, you're out there watching the storm instead of, going to the basement of your home, this might be the book for you. Anywhere bad weather strikes, Chase and his dad are after it, but Chase is learning way more on the road about storms than he ever would in a classroom. That is until the hurricane of the century strikes, when suddenly the things that he's learning, while helpful, are not enough to keep him out of danger. Check out Storm Runners. It's an exciting read, and it is absolutely action-packed. Certainly a very quick book to read by Roland Smith. I wanted to mention as I wrap up today that if you have not been on Destiny Discover lately, a reminder that it is our library catalog that can be found on our homepage. It's hopefully something that you add to your home screen or add as a bookmark on your iPad so that it is easy to access. But it is a great spot for you to go to search for books when you aren't able to get down to the library, or even if you are, just taking some time to look through so that you have an opportunity to find something else that you might want to come down to check out when you have a moment. Don't forget that we are changing out this top banner at the top all the time, giving you something new to look at. Right now, it has books for Hispanic Heritage Month that you can search through. The next row down is the topics buttons, which have all of our genre signs, and so you can look under humor or science fiction or whatever it is you might be interested in learning more about. Below that, we have our collections buttons. So for example, if you wanted to find some books about video games, or if you're looking for scary books, you might check that horror collection. If you're interested in novels in verse, those books that are written in that poetry style. Or if you're thinking, gosh, do I have to read? Take a look at some of the books that are perfect for those that maybe reading isn't your first choice, but some of these have really hooked students who are not always interested in choosing reading as their first option. You can always use this top search for looking up a title, author, or topic. And remember that you can log in the top right corner up here with your student ID and password, and then you can place any books on hold that you might want to if they are not available. As always, if there's anything I can help you find in the library, please stop down or send me a message. Thank you so much, and happy reading.